I wanted to ask you about something that was brought up during the discussion about fentanyl and possibly declaring it as a weapon of mass destruction. Can you explain just kind of how that would work and what that would do in terms of federal resources that you could free up in the majority to dedicate to that problem?
Yeah, I mean, if it's declared a weapon of mass destruction, there are accounts of funding within the Department of Homeland Security and within the state and defense departments that could. It's the number one killer of our children today. Enough has come across to kill the entire population 7 times over. This is an epidemic of huge proportions, and it's just out of control. And what inflames me is that it's coming from China, the precursors into Mexico, coming across into our border, and not to mention the human trafficking elements and the drug cartels having operational control of the border. I secured it when I chaired Homeland. The prior administration remained in Mexico. First day in office, Biden rescinds it, and it's total chaos in my home state of Texas, and you heard here as well. It's impacting every state, and so I know my governor, Abbott, has taken that proposition of fentanyl to designate the cartels as a terrorist organization.
Yeah, and the numbers, are staggering compared to what was going on under Trump. It's like 450,000 encounters, and now it's like over 2 million. So I wanted to ask you
it's approaching 5 million.
Total, right, during Biden's time.
Right.
But, I just wanted to ask you compared to Trump, how was the fentanyl issue being handled under Trump? Why was there such a change under the Biden administration?
Well, because we had operational control of the border. I mean, between the wall, the technology, the remain in Mexico, the cartels knew they couldn't, it was harder to get across. But once it was opened up under this administration, not only are they getting, the women and children and young males across and making money off them, they're making an extraordinary amount of money off the drugs, and particularly the fentanyls. And China probably thinks it's a great foreign policy. They make money off it, and they kill Americans.
And why do you think this is going on? Why is the Biden administration not changing course in any way on immigration policy? Is it the activists that are aligned with the Democratic Party? What do you think are the reasons? Is it Mayorkas? What do you think are the guiding principles?
Mayorkas knows better. I think it's people in the White House. He's following the commander-in-chief's orders to basically, I think they have a different view of this. And it's hurting. You're creating more victims of trafficking by doing this, and that's what they don't understand. And you're letting in all these fentanyls that have killed 100,000 young people just this year alone. My daughter has attended several funerals now where they think it's Xanax and it's not, and they can't wake up. I think the American people are going to start waking up to this when they see more and more people they know dying from this, and it's insidious. It needs to be stopped, and that's part of our commitment, is to get that border under control. And I spent most of my adult professional career on that.
And the last one for you, since you're from Texas, the migrant busing. What's your opinion on where that stands? Do you think the Republicans are losing on the optics? Does it look like they don't care about migrants and they're sending them out of their state when it comes to Texas or Florida? What's your take on it?
Depends where you live. I think if you live in Texas, we're so frustrated with what they have done, and we have to live with this every day. It comes through our state. They overrun our state. And I think what Governor Abbott and DeSantis are trying to do is they just demonstrate, hey, you deal with this now. We have to deal with it every day. And so I think, if you're in Martha's Vineyard, you probably didn't like it. If you're in D.C., probably not. New York, maybe not. But if you're like in Washington County, Pennsylvania, you're thinking that's a pretty good idea.